Rock and roll. Welcome. Life Journey Production Studios. My name is Keith, and this is after a week off. Sorry about last week. If you are on live with me, and I see some of you live, my throat's already bothering me. I was a little under the weather last week, just so you guys know. And then I'll talk more about what happened in the post show tonight. So make sure you tune in for that, 5:15-ish, we'll see. But throat was fine, but 4 o'clock, between 4 and 6 o'clock is probably one of the hardest periods of time for me. So I'm loaded up with liquid. I'll do the best I can tonight, guys. And thank you so much for joining me. I see, who all do I have in the chat here? I have the chat all over tonight. I see Freddie. It's good to see you. I think Craig beat you to the punch tonight. Freddie, what's going on? I did launch just a little bit early tonight to give you guys an opportunity to jump on. More guys are joining us. I see some more I'll get to here in a minute. So I think up during the intro video when I had some hidden unboxing of tonight's topic. So you got to go back and watch the intro video because I did hide unboxing of 2 items inside the intro video. Just in case you weren't paying attention and you don't come in on the intro, sorry about that. Hopefully you're live with me, so don't watch it now. You can go back and watch it because we're going to talk about those 2 products tonight. And if we have time, we're going to talk about using picture-in-picture in your live streams, especially some new information I have to share with you tonight about automating picture-in-picture in the older Blackmagic Design ATEMs, the Mini, the Pro ISO. Those are 3 powerful decks from back in 2020-ish. And now we have the Extreme and Extreme ISO. And hopefully this year, Blackmagic Design will blow our minds with something rack mounted, but we'll see. So again, I want to say hi. I also saw Tony drop in tonight. Good to see you, Tony. I got a couple things to say about Tony in the post show. So I hope you'll stay tuned for this. In the post show, but this is a hint right here. Tony, you might recognize this. So anyway, stay tuned for the post show if you want to know a little bit more about what you just saw. But tonight we're going to talk about a new keyboard that I purchased. And again, I haven't mentioned it yet, but yes, we hit 1,000 subscribers. You guys did that with me. I see this as really a collaboration with streamers and people who are passionate about games, home studios, Zoom meetings. I'm connected with some venues, some churches, some other venues that are using live streaming tech, live streaming tools. And of course, if you know anything about live streaming, it covers so many things. I don't know that a channel really could call itself just a live streaming tech channel because it's so diversified, it would be really hard for you to even stay on top of that. So I've tried to focus this channel on kind of building this studio and then obviously now working with some clients here in the Northwest, mainly a few that I do Zoom calls outside of the Northwest, which is the northern western part of Washington, thus Northwest. But again, if you just started dropping in, I wanted to say hi and want to get right to our topic tonight. Again, I see Tony, I see Freddie, I see Craig, and hopefully some more people will drop in tonight. I wasn't on the air last week. There's no way I could have done a live stream based on my physical condition at the time. I actually came down with a fever in about noon on Monday last week. Fully was planning on, actually started working on my live stream, and then all of a sudden just did not feel good. So that was kind of a 48-hour bug that got me pretty good for 48 hours. And then it's been kind of a slow recovery. When you're 60 and you get hit by one of those things, it's not easy. I also had friends from out of town, so it was a real busy weekend. So pretty exhausted just from entertaining, having guests at the house, which was an absolute blast because I enjoy hanging out with people, but you never know how that's going to go when you get back into your work week. And I consider Monday morning my beginning of my work week. So lots of cool stuff to talk about tonight. Let's jump right in. And again, I hope I said hi to everybody. I will look at questions here in a minute. I see that Bill has joined us. Thanks for joining us, Bill Serino. And I will look over if you have any questions. Make sure you put a Q in front of it. You don't have to retype it. I will scroll back through the text tonight and try to capture those. We will have time tonight for a Q&A. And again, the topic is PopKey Logitech keyboard, and I'll explain to you why I purchased it. This is not sponsored. They didn't send it to me someday. But I have been continually with the live stream, right? And when I'm doing Zoom tech calls, right? So one of the things that I'll do is I'll do a Zoom call and try to walk people through setting up their ATEM Mini Pro. Obviously, it's pretty much the same if you have the ATEM Mini or the ATEM Mini Pro, ATEM Mini Pro ISO as far as the buttons, but there are obviously some features that are not available on the ATEM Mini. So I also have an extreme ISO in my studio. I have the older HybridDeck Mini, the newer HybridDeck Mini, the Stream Deck, starting to wrap my head around Companion, being able to program Companion buttons. Really, in reality, for both the ATEM Mini Pro and the ATEM Mini Pro ISO. In fact, Freddie's in the live tonight, and we were talking back and forth about how you can use the Stream Deck to set up buttons with Companion so that you could have the inputs in your ATEM Mini Pro and the inputs in your ATEM Mini Extreme. If you had both, you could have two Extremes, you could have two Pros, you could have two Pro ISOs, whatever you have, and how you could use Companion to be able to operate all those channels at the same time. So now instead of using the front of your ATEM Mini or your ATEM Mini Pro or Extreme, whatever version you have of those two devices, you could be using your Stream Deck as the control surface for that. Now, I don't do that. I use my Stream Deck, believe it or not, mainly to run my lights in my studio. I don't know why I don't go deeper in that. I have to tell you that I'm almost always learning some new piece of equipment. I'm still wrapping my head around MixFX, which is an app that Adam Tao created for the iPhone, the iPad, and newer versions, and the iPod Touch. And so that'll help you control some of the things as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later in today's live about some of the cool new features. But if you are live streaming, you do need a good keyboard, because I'm going to be in the chat tonight. I'm going to be, I have two computers running all the time when I'm live. I have my laptop, and I also have my PC. In reality, they're side by side, but my laptop main monitor is right here, and my PC monitor is right here in my BenQ, which is a monitor you can split into 4 different inputs. And we'll look at that here in a little bit. And then I've added a new item we're going to talk about in the post show as well. But I really wanted to focus in on this keyboard and why I got it. So first off, it's already unboxed, but I did the unboxing in the intro. If you did not see that, that's where it's at. I may do a edit down and upload it this week. I'd like to do that. But I sat down at my desk, I unboxed it before I started using it so that we had that footage, and I shared it with you tonight in the intro. And that's just a bonus if you sit there waiting for the live show to start, or if you're replaying it back later and you weren't on with me live, then that unboxing of this keyboard is in the intro reel. And this is a Logitech PopKeys keyboard, and I guess it's because these keys will pop out, and we'll look at that here in a minute. You can pop out these keys right here, and they give you the ability to, when you're chatting, whatever software you're using, you can pre-program that to be different emojis. I've never really been a huge emoji person. I do like the smiley face because I'm kind of known for my big, crazy smile. So I like the smiley face. That's probably my all-time. Thumbs up, hearts occasionally. But now I have this keyboard, so if I'm in the chat and I want to actually add one of those things, and you can program one of these keys as well to bring up all of the options and then click on one. And I use that in my mouse. I don't really need it on the keyboard, so I'll just use these program keys. But the really reason I purchased this, you will think it's because of the color. And I did. I saw this on the backstory real quickly. I hope you guys don't get bored with me tonight. But the backstory was we had our TV in our living room go out right after the holidays. Happy holidays. And so we were sitting there, I was watching with my children who are in from out of town. They're not children anymore, they're young adults. Adults, really. And all of a sudden, one night, half the TV goes out. Now, this is a This is a 75-inch Samsung TV, and the story behind that, I'm sitting on the couch with my youngest son, Bryson, and you can see him here on my videos. He's the one in the NZXT unboxing, and there's some other videos here on the channel. But we were sitting on the couch in our other house, the other house where I had the recording studio in it and small living room, and we're sitting out there. And it was right before the holidays. We had some money that we had received kind of as a Christmas bonus. And we were just kind of talking as a family what we ought to do. And at that time, we had a 65-inch tube TV in the family room. And so I had a garage that I took 13 feet of it and created a family room in that house. It was a very long garage, like 35 feet long. So it was perfect for that. And so we're projecting on a big screen in there using a projector. I think it was 720p with 200 ANSI lumens. And so I still have that projector. It's in the garage, and you guys will see that projector when we do the studio tour, which I will be announcing when that's going to be tonight in the post show as well. But that's coming up here very soon, and that's 1,000 subscribers, and that's really cool. I think I have this button right here. So hopefully you guys can hear applause and not something else. Hopefully I didn't play the wrong little deal in my Rodecaster Pro. So anyway, we're talking about getting a TV. We're looking in Costco online, which is a large warehouse type shopping place here in the United States. And my wife is in the kitchen. Now, I'm the electronic person. My wife's not into electronics at all. When I purchased her last laptop, I got her like a gaming / fast computer. And she uses it to do Microsoft Word and Zoom meetings. And it only has a 720p camera, but that's a very fast computer that I purchased for her. So she's not into electronics at all. But the funny thing was, as we were shopping for TVs, my wife said, well, what size TV are you going to get? And I said, I don't know, probably like a flat screen LCD 60-inch maybe. And she goes, well, what size is our TV in the living room? And I said, I think it's like a 65-inch big tube TV, and it was huge. And I think it was that, probably 46-inch. And my wife said, and I quote, go big or go home. At least that's my paraphrase. And I looked at my son, and my son looked at me, and I go, what do you mean? And she goes, well, don't get a 60-inch TV. She goes, how much is an 80-inch TV? And we looked, the price was ridiculous. But we found a TV, Vizio TV that was a 75-inch, no, 75-inch TV, and it wasn't that expensive, and so we purchased it. And so again, that TV is the one that went out. That's the backstory. And so we were very disappointed. We played with it. I even took it down and unplugged it and put it back up again, trying to get it working, and it just was not working. So we decided we're going to get a TV at Best Buy. I looked at Costco, found a TV I wanted, but they're out of stock. Then I found that Best Buy has that exact same Samsung Nano LED TV, 75-inch, I believe. And the difference between it and the one that Costco carries, which is kind of a nationwide version, is the speakers come out the top, and evidently in the specially built for Best Buy version, it comes out the bottom. And so long story short, we bought the TV, and to my surprise, they had a $500 certificate, and I thought it was a scam. Absolutely. I never bought anything big like that online from Best Buy before. So I ordered it online. Sure enough, a day or so later, I get this coupon, the coupon code. I take it into Best Buy, and I'm in Best Buy. I decide I'm going to buy something I've been looking for the studio, and one of the things that I wanted was a mouse pad. And let me just show you this mouse pad I have on here. And you might think, mouse pad, that's no big deal. But it is a big deal because it's this big mouse pad here on my desk. And this is the one I bought. I moved the one I have over here, which is deeper. They're both the same length this way, and then the depth is different. The depth of the other one is 50 millimeters longer. So this is called the 300, and then the 350 is the one I have on the other side of the desk, and I'll show you that when we get out the mobile phone. And so one of the things I saw that day, and I was just walking around chilling. I enjoy just walking around looking at all the new electronics and all the stuff at Best Buy. And I spotted this keyboard, and the colors is what caught my eye. And so I looked at it, never touched it, never did anything with it. But I was thinking about that my keyboard that I had for my studio, my man cave when I first opened it, is this thing. And is this a keyboard or what? It's a surfboard. And this keyboard is padded on the back, and it's a lap pad, and then this Corsair keyboard snaps into it, so I can unsnap that. But it's huge. And because I purchased the Wacom pad, which we're going to talk about in the post show, for the live stream and for helping clients and being able to draw and all of those things, I knew I needed to use the real estate on my desk because it's filling up. I have a laptop on one side. Now I have, I can show you that view here. Where are you? I got to change one thing here or you're going to see the chat. Let's see. Me and Facecam. So that's just the Facecam software. So you're seeing over my shoulder. So right here is that deeper pad. So I got my laptop, then I have my iPad now that I have Mix Effects open so I can do, I can change things in SuperSource right now. So if I click over to SuperSource and I want to go back to this layout, let's see, let's go to this layout. Then I can go to this layout too and zoom more in because that's the iPad layout. So it crops in on the Facecam software. And that's all I have open. I have Facecam software open up on my desk. That's my over-the-shoulder camera. It keeps me from having to use OBS, and I guess I'm at this point where I don't care if the Facecam adjustments and stuff are on the screen. But so I have this pad right here so I can mix things up. So I can show you that right here on the desk, you can see that I have my new Wacom pad, and I have the software open from my PC. And so my laptop has the Facecam software open, and I have my main screen now, my Wacom pad, and I have it duplicated so I can put it inside the stream. I'd have to cut away from this downward camera because it's in my ATEM Mini Pro. But I wanted to downsize the real estate. So I also bought the mouse because I like some of the features of the mouse. I liked that it was smaller. And so the cool thing about this keyboard, let me get it out here. I'm going to put the boxes down. Just wanted you to see the boxes. The cool thing about this keyboard is that you can program it on these first three keys. Actually, you can program all of these keys across the front. Right, let me move that up a little bit. Actually, let's just go like this. So you can actually program these first three keys, and it's set up so that it can be like my laptop could be number one. I have it for my PC. So my PC is number one. I hit button number two, it automatically switches over to my PC number two. And then if I hit number three, it'll switch over to my iPad. So I actually have a keyboard now for my iPad. Now it's all Bluetooth. And then you can also sync up the little Bluetooth device. So it's both the keyboard and the mouse. And then it will switch, the mouse will switch with it. But also, not only can you switch up different computers, you can program these buttons up here. I have a mic mute, even though it's not going to mute my iPad, but it will mute if I'm in Zoom. I have play buttons that are set up, which is very similar to keyboards, but I can actually program other keys. Let's go to a bigger screen here. So I can actually program other keys on the top across here to do other things, and I can do all that inside the software. I can also, the reason it's called pop keys, is I can pop off these keys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and switch them out to some other keys that came with it. And they're right here in my drawer. I should have had those out and ready for you guys tonight. But if you watch the intro video, you can see those. And so I switched out some of those. So on the front of my pop key keyboard, it comes in 3 different colors. This obviously is perfect for my colors of my logo. You know, I use the bright yellow and blacks in my logo and my website. So you can pop out these keys here for whatever face you want, even though the face will not represent what you have in the software. That's a little disappointing. But if I push this button now and that's the hands, it's going to put hands on the screen. So if I come over here and I click in the chat with my Logitech mouse, the little pop keys mouse, And so now I'm in the chat, and I already hit a key accidentally. So I got to do this upside down. Let me hit enter. And so let me go to this icon, which is the praying hands, then thumbs up, and then smiley face, which I like, laughing tear face, and then hearts. And that's what I have set up in there. And you can see those popped up on the screen. So if you're watching the chat back, I'm not that into emojis. I'm just demoing the keyboard. So shoot me later. And so it's pretty big. It doesn't have feet that folds out. It's got this kind of big area. It's also got the batteries in it. But what I like about it is that you can use this with 3 different devices. Now, I constantly, when I'm live streaming or I'm on a Zoom call, I have Mix Effect open on my iPad. I also have 2 PCs open. I have Zoom on one, and then I have the other PC, so I can show that desktop inside my Extreme. And so there's just a lot of stuff going on in the studio. I have the Logitech camera that usually comes through my laptop and the face cam that usually comes through my PC, even though I reversed it tonight. Because now that I'm using my Wacom pad, which is on the PC, and you go, what in the world is a Wacom? Well, this is my Wacom pad right here on the screen. And and it's a great tool. Cut back to this look right here and cut back to Super Source. Man, it's getting hot in here. Let's go to this one. So I got the pad right here, and it comes with the Wacom pencil, and we're going to talk about that later. But if you look at the software here now, I can use my Wacom pad, and I can click on the keyboard, and it brings up the keyboard, and then I could go through here, and I could change these different icons. The first one is obviously the smiley face, and I have it set to smiley face. And I can change what smiley face I want it to be. So if I want it wide eye, I can change it to wide eye grinning. Then I could go down to the next one, and that's kind of crying eyes. Let's make that laughing instead now. And then I can go back to this big happy grinning face, and we'll do it with the grin. Let's do it with this. Let's just do the smiley face. And then the tears one, I could make it crazy tears. And then this last icon is set up to be whatever emoji you want. And I can set it for heart, which is what I like to have it set at. Now you want to set it up to go with your keyboard. And so what I just did is messed it up, because I have praying hands, thumbs up, smiley face with tears, and then hearts. And if you're going to put those keys on there, then that's what you're going to want to set it at. So we'll go back through here to the very first one. We're going to change that back to praying hands. Go to the second one. We're going to change that one to thumbs up. Going to go to the third one, and that should just be the smiley face. And we'll do this one right here to matches it. And then happy tears. Where are you? We'll do this one right there. And then the last one, which is by default is set to just open up all the emojis, so you can just pick one. But I'm going to have this set to heart, and it is set for heart still. So now it's set for heart. And so I also can go up through these keys on the top, and let's just say I want to go to the play icon, which is right here, play pause. I could change that to my home screen, to launch applications, a keystroke assignment. I could go all the way down here and program the keys. Now, programmable keyboards, guys, that is not anything new, but it's really cool because I like the fact that I can make those changes. Now I can click on the mouse as well. And so here is the mouse, and it has a really nice wheel. It's a nice soft rolling wheel. And it's got a left click and right click, but then it also has a button right here in the middle. And we'll zoom into that again so you guys can see that. So right in the middle, there's kind of a circle there, and then I can set that up as well in the mouse software. And so if we just switch over here to my Wacom pad and go to channel 3 here. So if I was to click here, oops, drop my pen. If I was to click here on the middle of that mouse, it gives me these choices. So emoji menu, I could just choose an emoji, a keystroke assignment, and I could program all of these options as well on the mouse. So not only is the mouse and the keyboard compact, it's just really nice to now have a keyboard to use that is going to be on my desk all the time, where the other one I would get out during live streams because it's just too big. Even outside of the lap pad, it's just humongous. And so having the Pop Keys keyboard by Logitech and having the Pop key of the Pop mouse is really streamlining my setup. And again, if you look down at the desk, you can see I got my keyboard right here. I can have my drawing pad. Obviously, my mic stands in the way, and I got my mouse right here. And so now I can work from my keyboard when I'm drawing and use the hotkeys, and I can have it sideways like this. Type in the chat if I want to. If I reverse cameras to go to camera 1, which tonight is a side shot. Well, that didn't work. Something happened to camera 1. Let's wake it up. Not sure why that went to sleep. Are you still asleep? That's weird. Obviously, glitches, 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 and more glitches. So yeah, I lost my camera 1 tonight. So not sure it's on, but it's not broadcasting. So we'll have to figure out what the problem is with that for the post show. So again, having the ability to have all of this stuff within fingertips away, to be able to draw on the screen, and we'll talk about that in the post show with the Wacom pad. That's incredible. And then to give myself the real estate again for drawing, for working on the pad. And the other thing that I wanted the keyboard for is that I can then still use it on my lap. It's a small enough keyboard. I could drop it right in that laptop, that pad as well. And I'm going to Velcro it in, and then I could use that keyboard on my lap, or I can still use my Corsair keyboard, and it's both wireless and Bluetooth, which is a feature I really like. And wireless is a little faster, especially if you're gaming. But this is mainly for running the desk, running live streams, having the ability to make adjustments. And then the other thing about the mouse, not only can you adjust it, and you have been able to do this for a long time, where you can use one Bluetooth receiver for 2 devices. One of the things I love about this, having both of those devices hooked up to my PC, is that you now with Logitech software can do a setting where you can just go from one PC to the other PC, even though I haven't got it to work totally yet, but I was only playing with it yesterday. But I also have 3 buttons on the back of my mouse, and I can choose. Right now I'm on my PC, but if I click the button once, again, it goes to the center light. Now that is my laptop. And then if I clicked it one more time, and you have to set these up in each one of the devices, and it's flashing right now, that means it's not connected. That would be then my iPad. And I haven't used it on my iPad today. It worked perfectly fine yesterday, but I've had my iPad off and back on again. And so something else may be connecting right now to my iPad. So, but going back to my PC, so now I can use it on my PC when I'm with the client. I can use it with the Wacom pad for drawing. I can also use it with the keyboard and have that all on my PC. And then if I need to do other work on my laptop, I could just switch it over, even though I'm perfectly comfortable using the keyboard on my laptop. But it's kind of nice to have these keys. I don't have to lean in as far. I can sit up better. So I'll probably be using that Logitech keyboard a lot more. And if we cut back to that over my shoulder view, let's see, that's a macro. Let's see, me in the face. Cut back to the over shoulder view, I can bring this keyboard in. And because when you're using the keyboard, my Asus ZenBook Duo has this little device that slides up against it to give you a nice cushion for your hands. I can drop this keyboard now in front of it and have plenty of room. I can even leave this in there and use it to prop up my keyboard even more vertically. So either way, I have the ability to use it. And just so you know, when I was at Best Buy in the next trip and had that coupon was used for not only the Wacom pad, but also the keyboard. And then I, took some money out of my own checkbook and added in a Batmobile, which we're going to talk about in the post show as well. But I have all that stuff. If you can see it right here, let's cut back to this view. Sure what's going on with camera one, but let's see, can I get out of the way here? I have all that stuff right here behind me, and I will be looking at what's in that box in the post show. So crazy, lots of little stuff about that keyboard. Now let's go back through the chat here, and let's see what you guys have as far as questions. So let me get a drink here. Still working at popping the chat out and using it in the live, but with the Wacom pad and talking about that in the post show. I didn't want to try to do two things at once, so we will be getting your comments out on the screen here soon. I apologize for not having that yet. So I'm just going to use this screen here for a second, go back through the chat. Again, we have Craig here, Freddie, we have Tony in the chat. We have Conjoined Technologies. Good to have you as usual. Let's see. Stop and Think is here all the way from South Carolina once again. And let's see. We also have Max Waldman. I'm not sure what Max you've been on before. If you have, I apologize. I missed you. Thanks for joining us. That's awesome. And let's go down now through any questions that you guys might have. Great to see you too, Freddie. Hi, Craig. I said earlier in the chat, talked about the hidden unboxing in the intro. If you want to see what's in the box of both the mouse, the pop mouse and the pop keys from Logitech. And again, it comes in three different colors for mouse, 3 different colors for keyboards. And I think there's a link in the notes tonight, and those are associate links. So if you do use them, thank you very much, because the channel gets support, but you don't have to pay more. 1.02 subscribers. That's right, Freddie. And I also saw some congratulations, 1K subscribers from Craig there earlier. Thank you very much. It is a cool keyboard. Is the keyboard gold? No, it's not gold. That was from, who said that? Let me look back through here. That is from Craig. I wish it was gold. That would be nice. Just I'd be melting it down so I wouldn't have a keyboard. So what's up, Conjoling? It's good to see you. Freddie says hi to Quick Tech. Obviously, that's really cool. And you want to come to the post show because I'm going to talk just a little bit about Quick Tech Solutions again, and you'll see why. And this is not my channel. That is Tony's logo from Quick Tech Solutions. So we'll talk more about that in the post show, and you'll know why I have that stinger on my screen. Let's see what else we have here. So shout out to Tony. Yeah, I don't have no super chat yet. I haven't monetized, so I'm just torn, guys. So, if you have any thoughts, jump on my Life Journeys page. You can put them in the post show tonight. That's a perfect scenario for talking about that. There are some cool things that I have available to me now. I watched a video this week from Peter McKinnon about the shorts and the power of those. And then he had quotes from other people on his channel. So go watch his video, Peter McKinnon's channel. I've been following Peter for a long time. I love the kind of presentation he did of YouTube Shorts. And that's an option now that you can do when you get up to a certain amount of subscribers. You don't even have to be to 1,000 subscribers to use Shorts. I forget what the number is, but if you know what the number platform is, put that in the chat, guys, tonight. And I'm sorry, I'm looking over here for the chat. I should be using my iPad, but I have Mix Effects open tonight. So no super chat. We're working on it. Tony says hi, Joel. Joel says hi, Tony. Yes, we want a new ATEM with more inputs, rack mounted. I'm not sure how that will work out for my channel because I like having the things on my desk, but I can see the advantages of not having a ATEM on your desk and have it in a rack. And speaking of racks, that's a conversation we're going to have in the near future. I may save that for a post show. I know some of you have talked to me about rack systems for your network for your house, also using it for things like the rack mountable Blackmagic design devices. There is a new shelf that's available through Blackmagic Design that's a little bit more powerful. It's a little deeper, so that's better usable. And that's where you're going to put like the web presenter, the HyperDex. So that's available now from Blackmagic Design. I watched the video on that yesterday. I'll find that video and drop it in the chat later tonight. Maybe we even share that during the post show. Checking our time. We're good. Let's see. So, Bill, you said, hello, everyone waiting on snow. Oh, a snowstorm. Man, I hope you're not waiting for that. Let's just ignore it all together and let it pass you by. I think 2-3 years ago, we had a horrible snowstorm here in the end of January, end of February, and it was crazy. My wife was on a continuing education cruise. I didn't want to go on because she's going to be in classes all day long. I should have gone, but our house would have been buried. I think I shoveled snow for 4 or 5 days, ended up investing in a snowblower, and then it didn't snow very much the last couple of years. So sorry about that snowstorm. So let's see. Freddie, question. When you use both ATEM Extreme and you record, oh, I should hit record. I'm recording ISOs right now. So much for all that overhead shots I did on the keyboard, but I would do a new video if I do upload that separately. That's why I wasn't too worried about the first half tonight. But thank you for jogging my memory, Freddie. So when you're using both the ATEM Extreme and you record into a SSD, do you just record on your main ATEM or use an SSD in each ATEMs? Well, because, and that's a great question, Freddie. Thanks for asking it. Number one, if you have your ATEMs hooked up to each other, right? So I'm using my ATEM Mini Pro first. I have a number of inputs coming into it because I have 3 switches. So there's 4 inputs. I have 3 switches on 3 of those inputs, thinking about adding another one. And I have one in my drawer. And I'm still racking my brain around that idea. Then that goes from the HDMI out. You set it to program out, right? Because with the ATEM Mini Pro and the ATEM Mini Pro ISO, you have multi-view out. It doesn't matter on an ATEM Mini because it doesn't have multi-view out, but you do have the ability, I think, to change a camera to that input. So you set it for program, and then when you cut to that camera, that feeds into a channel in your ATEM Mini Extreme, or you could use 2 Pros or 2 Pro ISOs or 2 ATEM Minis. You could use 2 Extremes, 2 Extreme ISOs. Now, if you're going to use 2 Extreme ISOs, then I would say yes. Or if you have an ATEM Mini Pro ISO for your first ATEM, and then you have the next one, you may want the ISO tracks from the ATEM Mini Pro. If I was to record right now in my ATEM Mini Pro, all I would get is the program out, and I already have that. That comes into channel 3. So for me, no, I only record either program only in my ATEM Mini Extreme ISO or ISO tracks. Why own an ISO and not record ISO tracks and file? Why own a ATEM Mini Pro on up that could record and not hit record? That's a question I need to be asking myself. So I'm recording ISOs right now, but I do not need to record in my ATEM Mini Pro. Now, I have considered switching my ATEM Mini Pro out to another Extreme, but I'm kind of waiting, like with everybody else, to see what Blackmagic does this year. Why would I do that? Well, because then I could get rid of all of those switches that I have in my ATEM Mini Extreme. Remember, I still lose the program out, and I lose a single input channel in my ATEM Mini Extreme that I have now, because I take one of those inputs and I use the output from the Pro. And if I replaced my ATEM Mini Pro for an ATEM Mini Extreme or an Extreme ISO, and it would be an Extreme ISO without question, then I would be recording on an SSD drive there, as well as recording on an SSD drive on my other Extreme ISO. And then now I have all of those ISO tracks. And one of them I don't really need, because that would be, right now I use channel 3 to come in from my ATEM Mini Pro. And so my ATEM Mini Pro ISO channel 3 gets whatever is coming and whatever I chose from my ATEM Mini Pro. And we'll talk about this in the studio tour. And let me just say this. I can tell you, without question, unless something catastrophic takes place, I will be doing my my live stream behind the scenes, breaking 1,000 subscribers within 2 weeks. Now, I'm going to give you the exact time in the post show. And I'm doing that just strictly to promote the post show. And to be honest with you, I'm still debating exactly what day to do that, but I'll make a decision in the post show, and you may have feedback on that. So again, I hope that answered your question, Freddie. So I only record ISO tracks in my ATEM Mini Extreme, and that comes out of 2 USB-Cs out. So one is going to my laptop for a webcam. That's what's nice about having 2 USB-Cs in the new Extreme and Extreme ISO. And if you don't know the value of an Extreme over a regular ATEM, the major things that I feel are advantages are 2 HDMI outs, 2 USB-Cs out, so you can record to one out of one USB-C, and you could use the other one for webcam, for Zoom. I used to have to change. I would unplug the hard drive and plug in a different USB-C to my laptop every time I would go on Zoom, which means that I could not be recording from my ATEM Mini. I had to use the recording inside the Extreme. You could also come out of your Extreme like Aaron Precki does. He eventually goes through a web presenter, and I think John Barker's doing the same thing now. And they like the data that you get in the web presenter. So they're streaming from their web presenter HDs, but they're still doing their recording. When they want ISO recordings, they're doing that inside the Extreme or Extreme ISOs, which I think they both have Extreme ISOs, I believe. So hopefully that answers that question. That's a long answer, and even I'm tired of hearing my voice. Which isn't every day when I'm working a lot using it. Great question, though, Freddie, and it's a multiple answer. You can't record in a Web Presenter Pro or on HD, so you'd have to still record. Even if you're going to broadcast from those, you're still going to have to record in the Extreme or the ISO, the ATEM Mini Pro ISO, if you're going to get ISO tracks. So Extreme ISO or the ATEM Mini Pro ISO will record all the channels in those devices. One has 4 inputs and the other one has 8, and it'll also record XML files for DaVinci Resolve, so you can just go in and edit. And if you have Blackmagic Design cameras, you can set them up to communicate with your ATEM Mini Extreme, and you can actually adjust different things in the Blackmagic Design cameras, but you can also have it record at 4K RAW, and then you can use DaVinci Resolve to replace all your 1080p files that you ISO recorded with the RAW footage from those Blackmagic cameras. So if you really want to get high tech and create a studio, create it with all Blackmagic cameras and an Extreme or 2 Extremes. And remember, if you have 2 Extremes, you could also then use SuperSource in the first one and bring that in to program through whatever channel input you're going to bring that into in your second Extreme. And then you could also use your SuperSource again. And it's crazy to think about what you could do with all those upstream keys, the 2 DVEs, as well as SuperSource in 2 Extremes. In fact, it's so complicated, I haven't done it yet for that reason, mainly. Okay, so enough of that. That's a great question. And I think it was good for all of us as a practice of why you would record in both devices, and that would only be if you needed ISO tracks from the first device. Okay, so, hey Keith, that buzz is back in the audio. Really? There shouldn't be a buzz. Check. I have absolutely nothing on my end that I can hear in my headphones. But the last time you said there was a buzz, there was. I removed that cable That was out of my HOSA going to input number 2 in the extreme ISO as a backup. I decided there was no reason for that, so I'm not using it. I've also done that from my headphone out of my Rodecaster Pro before, so I could use one of the headphone outputs to be a backup channel, but there's no sense. I just come right into my HOSA and right back out to my speakers and right back out one of the other outputs into my Extreme. So hopefully that buzz won't be on the recording, but if you hear it, it might be there. So sorry about that. Can't fix that during the live, just too complicated. So let's go on here. A few more questions. Hey, can you tell Bryson to get on? Not sure what that means. Sounds like you need to talk to Bryson on his Twitch channel. So Freddie's also asking, have I tried the drawing feature? Yeah, we'll demo that in the post show. So, because we're going to focus on the Wacom in the post show. So I don't want to dive into that now, but yeah, I have figured out how to do it. And so we'll talk about that in the post show. Hopefully everything works. I did have to move my face cam out of my PC just because I was putting too much into my PC, adding the Wacom Tablet, as well as all the other things I'm doing on my PC during a live stream. So I moved my face cam over to my laptop, which really just handles the chat, and I launched the lives from there. So, okay, back to the questions here. So hopefully, Freddie, that answers that. We'll cover that more in depth in the post show just because that's the whole topic of the post show, but I am enjoying the Wacom pad. I saw that Aaron Preki got one as well, and we tweeted back and forth just a little bit. I know him mainly through his channel, not friends or anything, but he does answer my tweets occasionally. And so I was actually at Best Buy deciding on which tablet to get, asked him his advice, and he actually answered me while I was at Best Buy. And so it just confirmed what I already felt, and I'd seen it earlier, a comment by him in one of his live streams. So we'll talk about the Wacom pad in the second half, our post show, and also going to be doing a tribute in that post show, so you don't want to miss that. Let's see. Yeah, unplugging. Yeah, I wish it was that simple, but I think what happens is that, to be totally upfront with you, I've been having an issue with my ATEM Mini Pro. If I leave it on all day long, occasionally I have to reboot it. I've heard about that. I don't know if it's just an age thing, but and that first input is a special input. It's designed to be able to bypass everything for gamers, so you could run your PlayStation, your Xbox through there. And you'd have less latency. So if you're playing a game live in live stream, you don't want any latency, so you can pass it through to a big screen. I've never tried it. Aaron Preki talked about it in depth, I think, last week in his live stream. So check that out. You should be able to just go to his website and be able to talk about the two HDMI inputs in the Extreme and Extreme ISO, and the one HDMI input that are low latency that's available in the ATEM Mini Pro. ATEM Mini, I think, ATEM Mini Pro and ATEM Mini Pro ISO. It might not be available in the ATEM Mini. I don't know for sure. So, but my camera did not come back on, Tony. So it's just one of those finicky things. It doesn't time out. Now I have had it time out, and I've been able to push the shutter button. It comes back on, but it's not coming on. And yet I have a picture on the little mini monitor. So it's not broadcasting for whatever reason. So weird. And that's in my Extreme channel 1 and would be in my multi-view, but my multi-view is black right now. It says camera 1 EOS R, and there is no picture, and yet there should be a picture. So anyway, we'll move on from that. Let's see. I could nickname, I mean, if you want me to nickname my keyboard and mouse Tom and Jerry, I don't know. Well, I'll process that. But, you know, it's a recommendation. I want you guys to have influence on the channel. I have to be careful how much influence, because you next thing I know, I might have to do something besides be a ventriloquist on my channel. So, but that's hilarious. I like that idea. I'm a huge fan of Tom and Jerry. If you don't know what Tom and Jerry are, sorry. It's a cartoon here in the United States. Should be around the world. It's that good. Okay. Should be translated in other languages. Right, Freddie? You're welcome, Freddie, for the answer. How is the pop key keyboard for straight typing? They say it's pretty good. I'm not a typist. You know, I never took typing in school. I'm a hunt and peck type typer. I'm pretty fast when I'm actually typing. To be honest with you, I do most of the typing on my laptop. I don't do a lot of long documents. Probably the longest things I do now are emails. I have been planning on doing some writing as well as some drawing. I grew up as an artist. Everything was pencil or paintbrush or stipple, which is a nice way of doing dot type work, which I loved because it was slow process, very meticulous, and you got a better result because you couldn't rush it. I also did a technique, I forget what it's called, where you take a wax board and you cover it with black ink, completely black, and then you use like a writing pen for doing high-tech penmanship and writing, calligraphy, and you can use those to scratch away different size pens. And I had one that you could change tips, and then that was like scratch boarding. I think that's what I called it. And I did a lot of that as well as a teenager. I did some airbrushing. I actually went to vocational school for art back in the day where you paste up everything. So you had a board, you cut out the fonts, you drew the fonts, and you cut them out, and you pasted everything on a board. And then later I worked in Corel Draw, and then later in Adobe Illustrator. And so I love artwork, but I'm really lazy now because, again, there's so much you can just cut and paste now with digital. But I got the Wacom pad also, which we'll talk about in the post show, because I want to start drawing again. So I like the feel of it, though I haven't done a lot of typing yet. The keys take a little get used to because they're round, they're not square, which is new for me. I think it looks really cool. How practical it's going to be in the long run, we'll see. I'm notorious for not necessarily always thinking through things from the practical perspective. This should be one of my sponsors. But right now, the closest thing I have to a sponsor is my clients with my company. So we'll talk more about the Wacom pen and the Wacom tablet in the second half post show. So I hope you'll join me for that. Let's talk about, I think I covered all the questions. Let's talk about picture in picture. Yeah, I don't want to restart my ATEM right now, Pro, because I have my Wacom tablet, even though I probably will during the break. Hopefully I'll get 2 or 3 minutes before we go live for the second half. Normally it's like end one, start one. So tonight I'm going to try to give myself a little bit of time and just lets me cool the room off. 5 minutes, I can open the windows, cool the room off with a fan, and then have that fan going in the background during the intro video. And the intro is only 5 minutes for the post show, 7 minutes for the live show. And that's what we're calling them, calling that the post show with the in it and calling this the live show. The post show, just an advertisement again. Most of you guys know this, but if you're watching this video recorded, the post show is designed to be a little bit more intimate, a little bit more behind the scenes, a little bit more about other stuff that I do besides, or even things I collect, things I'm passionate about. And we're going to talk tonight about something really for the studio. So it really could have been its own live show, and that's the Wacom tablet. But because I'm so new to it, I'm still learning it. I really saved that for the post show and talk a little bit about the drawing aspect of that, what I'm excited about. So again, I hope that you guys will tune in for the post show. Also, I'm going to make a little bit of an announcement. Those of you who know me, something else happened last week. We're going to talk about that just briefly in the post show, and I'm going to do just a little shout out and tribute in the post show. It's not in any of the still images. It's a total surprise for most of you. I think a couple of you may know and have a little intuition to that because we've talked back and forth this week off camera. So, and also, I'm going to tell you why this stinger is in this show. Again, that's not my logo. That's Quick Tech Solutions logo. That's going to be in the post show as well, and I'll explain why I have Tony's stinger here in my live stream. So, typing on the keyboard, I don't know, it's kind of nice. I don't think I'm in the chat right now, so I should be able to type on this. Let's see what's going to happen if I hit these keys. Yeah, who knows? I'm scared to death I'm going to stop something here. So, says I'm still live, I'm still streaming. But so, you know, now that I'm using it tonight, I'm not going to play with it, but I will. I'll bring this into the live stream where it's disconnected, and I'll give kind of a typing demo. Again, I'm not a fast typer, but you can see it's a nice size. It does not have the extra keys on the side, and there's some dual keys down here. So again, it's a great keyboard. I know I didn't go into depth. I probably will do an in-depth review after I've had it for a couple weeks. This is something I think is pertinent to what we do, not just what we do on live streaming, but if you're working with clients. I think it looks cool on the desk. I think it goes pretty well with my colors, even though it's a little more orange than I have in my logos, but I love this color orange. I call that kind of bumblebee orange. And again, I bought the mouse to match. And again, it's a nice size mouse. It's not that big. My hand pretty well swallows it up when I use it. And I absolutely like both of those. And, you know, it's just been a few days since I've had those. I think I picked them up in the weekend. I told you guys I wasn't feeling well, so I don't even think I unboxed those until after I started feeling better late in the week. And so, again, I think live streaming for you, if you have an ATEM, one of the reasons that I think an ATEM is a nice resource, or a Pro ISO, is because you have multiple cameras and you have picture-in-picture. And I think picture-in-picture is pretty cool. And I think people think picture-in-picture would be for just something like what I showed you guys earlier. So I could have something like this on the screen, because in reality, you can do a layout very similar to this. This is Super Source, but you can do a layout very similar to this in an ATEM Mini Pro ISO. It takes a little bit of a trick. You got to use the media player. You've got to actually use picture-in-picture. You got to use the flying key, and you can create something similar to this. But what I wanted to say tonight, guys, is with picture-in-picture, one of the things I loved about the ATEM is the Super Source, and that was Super Source we just showed you, and you can make transitions by using Mix Effect. You can create companion keys in the Stream Deck to do animations. But Adam Tao announced just, I think, yesterday, his new update. Let me change cameras here. And we're going to put Adam's face on the screen here. He's not with me, so don't freak out. But I do want to share with you, where is it at here? Go back to that same look. So Adam shared this new update, and I have it kind of queued up here because he's going to show animating picture-in-picture, and it's quite a semi-complicated process, but he has this now in the new version. And if you look right here in the title, it's Animations and Automations in Mix Effects 1.4.0. So shout out to Adam Tao. I, again, hope to have him on the channel again here sometime soon. And we'll talk a little bit about all the changes that have come up in Mix Effects for a number of months, because he's been on the channel before. But let me play this for you. Let me turn the audio on that channel. And then you can watch this video in its entirety at a later time. This should play, so let's see if it rolls. And hopefully I won't get a commercial. Let's switch back to this shot. And let me hit play here first and see if it tries to play a advertisement.
Bottom right corner.
No, we should be good here. So let's go back. Turn this audio on and let's hit play. This is right from Adam Tao's YouTube channel. You can go check this out. He did a premiere and I watched this video live when he was chatting. And this is a great addition to the app Mix Effect, which runs on the iPad, iPhone, as well as the iPod Touch, but it does not run on Windows or any of those type phones. So here we go.
And you say edit and shortcuts. And there's the shortcut. I'm actually going to bring in Mix Effect. Right here. So here's the bottom right corner shortcut. So we're going to go back up here so you can see the animation happening. And in the shortcut here, I'm just going to tap run. And you see it runs the shortcut. Just like that. If you wanted to copy and paste them into Companion again, you would just go down here. You'd say, okay, copy that, paste that into Companion, copy that, paste that into Companion, and then you have a Companion button ready to go. So it's a really convenient way to create these kind of animated presets for your upstream keyer, your downstream keyer, super source boxes. Transitions don't do animation, but you can actually have a button that sets all your transition parameters right then and there, color generators, and audio. So we go back to presentation. There we go. Move me back up to the top here. We have the downstream keyer. You can animate the mask and the clip and the gain. And so this is actually kind of neat when if you have like another image and you want to kind of bring that image in using the downstream keyer, but you want to take over the entire screen. You just kind of want it to appear. And you can use that by making the mask kind of come in and out. So an example of that is over here. So let's actually go to change my switcher to this one, make the upstream keyer disappear. And I'm going to make the downstream keyer appear. So if we go to the downstream keyer section here, number 2, we'll make this one go here. And we have right now, the mask is actually, or the image for the downstream keyer is actually the keynote presentation that I have. And I'm just making the mask, make it disappear and reappear. And you can see it changing in Mix Effect. If I actually bring that up, and you'll see downstream keyer changing the mask. Okay. So if I wanted to set that as an automation, I would just go to automations. Here's all the parameters I need to input into Companion or add to a shortcut in Siri. If I make it disappear, and there's the parameters that I need to send to Companion or just push these buttons to add to Siri shortcut. Right, that's how that works. Again, automations are available in transitions, upstream keyers, downstream keyers, super source, and color generators. So I encourage you to take a look at all those sections to see what kinds of automations you can add. One button push on a Stream Deck or invoke it using a shortcut. So changes that have been made to OSC, including adding some new actions to support configuring all the parameters of the USK. There's a capture still action, as well as actions to change supersource box positions with duration and animation. I've also updated all of these actions to support duration and automations. So I would encourage you to take a look at the docs.mixeffect.app section, the OSC messages, to see what new parameters are there. They are all optional. You can just add the duration or the animation style at the end to many of these functions and it will just work.
So that was the section that he talked about.
A capture still shortcut.
one aspect of animation using the crop function, which I think was really cool. So you also have the ability to automate the DSKs as well as the upstream keys. So again, watch that video. I highly recommend it. It's high tech. It's really cool. All the things that ATEM has added to Mixeffect, way more than I've been able to even so far wrap my head around. But I will say this, it's worth it. And one-time purchase of Mixeffects, and he's adding all of these updates, which is really exciting, and even some updates to HyperDeck control in his last update, which we haven't even really touched on. So when I get Adam on, we'll kind of cover all of that stuff. It's there's just so much that I haven't taken a live show to talk about Mixeffects in a while, because I felt like that's all we were talking about for a period of time. So I hope that the Pop Keys keyboard discussion tonight maybe helps you decide if that's something that would work for you. The thing I love about it the most is the fact that I can switch between devices. The size of it and the color scheme obviously matches my channel really well. In the post show, again, we're going to talk more about the Wacom pad. Going to talk about what's in the box. I have a little tribute to do to someone very special, and as well as we're going to talk about a Stinger and why that was in my show tonight. And that's the Quick Tech Solutions Stinger from Tony and his channel. So again, I want to see if you have any final questions before we bolt out of here. Would like to be off the air here in about 5 minutes so we can get ready for the post show. So let's see what questions you may have. Let me refresh. My chat, because it seems to be stalled. Yeah, so if you are still with me and I'm still live, just give me a heads up in the chat, because I haven't seen anything since Freddie's quote. Here it says, hit the like button for Keith. Please. So yeah, 1,000 subscribers. I wanted to finish with this tonight. Thank you so much for those of you who subscribed. We are going to really focus in on that very soon with the live studio tour. Again, that's going to be here very, very soon. Obviously, last week, because of illness and all that, I couldn't get everything done to get ready for it, or we probably would have done that tonight. I do have some ideas in the post show to share with you about when I'd like to do that. It's going to be a little lengthy. It's going to have a couple pre-recorded videos involved in it, just because it makes it easier to do it that way. I do see you guys shouting out in the chat. So Freddie's saying, see you in the post show. So again, if you have any last questions about the Pop Keys by Logitech, picture-in-picture, you can go check out Adam's video. I'll put a link in the notes tonight before I go to bed. But you can always go over to Adam Tao's channel. Check out the other channels that are represented here tonight. You can look at those chat messages and go to each one of these guys' guys and gals websites and check out to see if they have a YouTube channel, subscribe, and check out what they are doing on their channel. I appreciate you guys very much. And glad I'm feeling about 85% right now. So hopefully by the end of this week, we'll be at 100% again. I want to bring all the energy I possibly can in to our behind the scenes live stream. And I've been working on some things here in the studio to make sure we're ready for that as well. So stay tuned for the post show. And if there's no more questions, and it looks like there isn't any more questions, I'll see you guys on the other side. Again, thank you so much for helping this channel break the 1,000 mark. And I would love to hear your input about monetizing and super chat and all that in the post show as well. So I will see you over there. I'm going to roll the outro, and we'll see you in just a few minutes in the post show. Until then, my name is Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios. Thank you so much for joining me for the live show, and I'll see you next week if I don't see you sooner.